to speak something real
Okay,
quick. I
okay.
wanted to let him speak real quick, and then let's wrap up. Kwame, brother, how are you?
I'm doing well, Shiba. How are you doing?
Wonderful. We were just about to close out, but I know you're very familiar with this topic, so why don't you reflect a little bit and let us know what's on your mind, and we're going to close out soon after.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, even for inviting me, and thank you for everyone who is here. Yes, I've been discussing this with. Um, I was discussing with a colleague of mine today about the prime minister's moves in the region, in the Horn of Africa, and the whole East African region, and this situation which happened with the TPLF. Mallet, yeah, I was discussing this with Mallet because we normally get to talk about this. But what I wanted to say is that you guys have to understand that we are up against a very organized force. This is not about TPLF. I've been listening to a gentleman, which I would suggest that you all guys try to listen to very much since you are in the United States, called Omali Yashitela, Chairman Omali Yashitela of the Africa Socialist Party, and try to give as much support as you can, because he has analyzed this situation. This is not about TPLF, this is not about Boko Haram, it's not about these guys in Al Shabaab in Somalia. This is about colonialism, and these guys, they want to, if you look at, I can talk and go on and go on, but if you look at the economies in the Western world are not doing well. For example, I'll give you some figures. The United States economy by the first quarter shrunk by 1.6, the second quarter shrunk by 0.9. Since the COVID-19, if you go to Europe, those economies were shrinking, all of them. The British economy, the first quarter, it shrunk. The second quarter, it shrunk even this year. So whenever the economies are not doing well in the West, they try to start up some sort of chaos around the world, start up some war whenever there's those economic depressions. And the only way for them to revive their economies and their power is to go out to their wage war and steal resources from other people. So this is what we are seeing that is happening. Now, the time for Africa's rising up and doing what is supposed to be done for itself, we have to go back to build Africa in the image of what our forefathers envisioned this continent to be, not in some vision of some neoliberal guys running around the world, destroying the world and saying they are spreading democracy. So what did Nkrumah want this continent to look like? What did Haile Selassie want this continent to look like? What did Garvey want this continent to look like? What did George Padmore want this continent to look like? We have to ask ourselves the hard questions and then do the hard work. So if we don't want to do the hard work, these people, they thrive on divide and conquer. So TPLF may be used by these our brothers, but they will use them. They use the greediest amongst us, and they use the most ignorant amongst us to take out the smartest, amongst us. So this is what happens. But how can we bridge that divide? For us to bridge that divide is for us to understand that this is not about Ethiopia. This is not about Nigeria. This is about our continent. You have seen that when the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov of Russia, came to Africa, visited Ethiopia, visited Uganda, visited Congo, Brazzaville, visited Egypt, immediately Macron jumped on a plane to come to Congo. Immediately when he saw Sergei Lavrov. So it's like he was trying to prevent Sergei from going maybe to the other western part of the continent. And then immediately they have come, Sergei Lavrov left. Then you see Blinken also coming to the continent, trying to, even though people have resisted him. So they are facing a lot of resistance. They have a lot of problems at home. Okay. a lot of problems. They are distracting their people at home because of the mismanagement and the poor governance which is happening in their home. So they are distracting them that they are trying to fight some just cause outside of the United States or outside Europe. So this is what is happening. And that cause is for them to take Africa and re-exploit it so that they can rebuild Europe and rebuild the United States. So it is not about one region or one country or one state on the continent. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that we have to band together and we have to fight a serious fight as a movement and integrate all the movements. We have to try to bring the movements together. Our ancestors did these things with so little resources. We have so much resources right now that the only thing that is preventing us is either laziness and negligence. But these people banded together without the communication we have today. They fought this fight. They coordinated and fought. We have to do it because these people are at their weakest point. Nkrumah wrote a book, one of the books which led to his overthrow, which was exposing imperialism and everything which it was going to do to Africa, to do in the future, which is called neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism. So for him, he said this is the last stage of imperialism, but it is the most dangerous. But he was showing you that they are weak, they have been weakened, these people have been weakened. The only option for us is to just unify the continent. So we have to concentrate our energies at one point of unifying the continent. How do we do that with the various leaders? These are questions which we can discuss. But if our movements are dispersed, and we are talking about Eritrea, we are talking about Boko Haram, we are talking about, TPLF, we are talking about Al-Shabaab, we are talking about, these people are in the Congo, they are causing chaos, they have been in the Congo. The UN, how can the UN say that the TPLF came and took fuel by force? But we know at the beginning that the UN took the trucks and left them there. So now they are saying that these people came and took fuel by force. How? We know that the UN, this is what it has been doing. It has been aiding them in causing chaos. The UN has been aiding the United States in causing chaos in the Congo for the last 60 years. The UN is what aided the killing of Prime Minister Lumumba in the Congo. The UN has been in the Congo for the last... So it is not about Ethiopia, again, like I'm saying. The UN is a neocolonial tool. It's a tool for these people to use to destabilize the continent. Why is the UN not in Yemen and in Ethiopia? Why is it not in Palestine where people are dying and Israel is killing every day people? Genocide is going on, apartheid is going on over there. Is Ethiopia so badly off than what is happening in Palestine and Yemen? So these hard questions we have to ask ourselves, these hard questions, but at the same time, we have to put ourselves on the line. We have to put lives on the line. If we want to build this continent and we want this generation to be remembered as the generation which liberated this continent, as the generation which liberated the continent from colonialism, to totally liberate this continent, we have to put lives on the line. Lives have to go on the line, and dedication has to be put in. We have to put in dedication. We have to coordinate. We have to talk to each other. If we don't talk to each other, we will keep going around circles and discussing horizontal issues. The vertical issue is political. The political unification, Nkrumah put everything clear for us out there, and he said the problem of colonialism is economic. I started by saying economies are shrinking, but the solution is political. Nkrumah talked about it and said the solution is political, and the political solution is the unification of the continent. So that is where we have to fight. The leaders on the continent who are willing to work with the movements, that is what we have been working on with Mallet, who are willing to work with the movements Those are the leaders we should band with and form a very strong force that is going to confront colonialism and neocolonialism. We have some governments which are willing. We have Eritrea, you have governments like Zimbabwe, you have a government in Ethiopia, you have some progressive governments, even if it's 1 or 2, 3 governments, and we integrate our movements and we stop talking about horizontal issues, TPLF, all these things which we have mentioned, and we integrate and make a very strong force that is going to take on this imperialism, debunk all the propaganda Blinken is running around the continent, and we say it is unacceptable that he should be coming to the continent to give statements which are empty, completely nothing, like what he gave in South Africa, that is a strategy, Africa strategy, Biden administration Africa strategy, completely empty nonsense which he gave. I didn't see any sense in what he was speaking. So it's the same. So please, I'm sorry for talking for very long, but this is what I'm trying to say, is that let us talk to each other and let us have these discussions and decide what to do, and let us do it. Let us do it. I believe that a government like in Ethiopia and Zimbabwe and Eritrea, these are governments which are willing to put at disposal resources for us to do the work and fight against this imperialism and neocolonialism, and be able to liberate this continent once and for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kwame. It's actually a very good point to leave this conversation. So lots of food for thought. We appreciate your input. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Yep, thank you. And we'll be back for sure with other topics. But I appreciate all your input. Anybody who participated and those who listened, please look at the pinned tweets or go to our pages